What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. During the last part, we saw an interesting scenario where BROLY ended up being part of Vegeta's crew. Or more like he was manipulated into being part of it, not knowing of anything that happened to Paragus and why he ended up where he is. But most importantly, he's here now, and it already started affecting Earth. Raditz ended up going there, and Goku ended up surviving this time. But what's going to happen now? How will this affect the Saiyan saga? Stay tuned to find out. For this video, let's set a like goal of 4,000 likes. Once we hit that, I'll continue with another part of this series. Anyways, let's pick it from here. Immediately after Raditz's death, they know they need to do one thing. The fighters on Earth need to train, preparing for the Saiyans to arrive. Raditz is already tough enough to fight, and apparently, the other ones that are about to come here are much stronger. Okay, but how are they supposed to grow strong enough to fight the Saiyans, especially the humans? Well, as for Krillin and Ten, they decide they're gonna go train with Kami. And Piccolo discusses with Goku. Gohan is safe, thankfully, and his dad is still here. Without Goku dying, there's no need for Piccolo to kidnap him and train him. But there still is another thing Piccolo needs to do with the group this time. He is most likely Goku's best training partner. He says they'll worry about training Gohan later, which is actually going to be better this time around because Goku's there to help ease him into it. And Goku remembers, thanks to the humans mentioned in Kami, it gives him an idea. They need to go up to the lookout too. Of course, the humans training with Kami will be great for them. It worked really well for Goku before, and it should work for them. And that leaves Piccolo confused. Why does he need to go up there then, if he's already learned everything that Kami has to teach him? Well, there's something else up there that they could use. The Room of Spirit and Time. It's something that Goku tried to use before, but it was a little bit too intense for him. And the fact that he's actually fully grown and not a teenager growing into an adult, he might be able to handle it better. He's not too sure, but it's at least worth trying. And since Piccolo is the closest person in strength to him, he wants Piccolo to go there with him. Okay, but what is this room? He explains to Piccolo, a room where a year's worth of training can be done in one day, although it's very intense, which is why Goku didn't really last in there too long the first time. And he doesn't think he's gonna last the whole year there either, but he still has some extra time to use up in there. And Piccolo's never been in, so it'll be okay for him to come along too. Piccolo doesn't really like the idea that he has to train with Goku, but hey, they're fighting a common enemy and this is really the best option. And it'll help him grow stronger in the meantime, so whatever. Eventually he'll be able to take over Earth. He reminds Goku, just because they're training together now, it doesn't mean that they're going to be friends. Piccolo is still a bad guy and is still his own person. He is the reincarnation of the Demon King after all. Goku acknowledges this, but he knows deep down, this is an opportunity to reform Piccolo. Hopefully, at least. He can see the cracks in Piccolo's facade. Really, anything is possible, such as getting strong enough to defeat the Saiyans. Remember, Goku is a Saiyan after all. He feels confident in this. How much stronger can they really be? The two enter the Room of Spirit and Time. And at their level, it's actually incredibly intense. It's no easy feat. Obviously it's rigorous regardless, but imagine how much worse it is considering the level that they're at right now. But even with the downsides, the upsides are huge. With such struggle, there's a huge amount of growth, and quick growth at that. The two are determined. These conditions, it only reinvigorates them. They don't know how strong the Saiyans will be, so they have to endure it at any cost. And their training is just as intense as the room itself. It is Goku and Piccolo, that same rivalry that existed before. For all we know, Piccolo could low-key use this as an opportunity to kill Goku, and Goku's honestly unsure if Piccolo's gonna try and do that or not, but the possibility is there, which means they are literally fighting for their lives. Even though they know it is training for a mutual cause, each of them knows that realistically, one of them can kill the other at any moment in time. So it's more than your normal average training. The possibility of death by the Saiyans, or the possibility of death by their rival is actually there. And these two possibilities fuel them even further. Thankfully for each of them, neither actually tries to betray the other. It's mutually beneficial to keep the other alive after all. And at some point, the room does become a little bit too intense as they head deeper into it, and after 6 months, they just cut it off. They've seen significant growth in this time though, and it's not just growth in terms of strength. Piccolo has actually grown as a person, or a demon, or Namekian, whatever, you get what I mean. And Goku actually can trust him a little bit more, same for Piccolo trusting Goku. Again, this doesn't mean Piccolo's a great guy or Goku's best friend or whatever, it's just they now know that they're not going to try to kill each other at any given moment. Not that Piccolo really needed to worry about that, but Goku kinda did. Piccolo's a dependable guy, at least in this circumstance. But yeah, let's actually talk about their strength because that is important here. We're still at a point where power levels matter, so let's discuss. Goku is actually at 30,000, which is pretty huge. And you might be saying, well, that's a little bit unreasonable, but not really. Considering how powerful the Room of Spirit and Time is in terms of a training tool, I don't think it's unreasonable to say that Goku can grow that much. And yeah, King Kai's training was very effective, but you also gotta remember Goku wasted a lot of time just getting there. And getting adjusted to the gravity there too. Not necessarily wasted the time, but you get what I mean. With the Room of Spirit and Time, they just started training right away. No time used at all just trying to get acclimated to it. At least in the levels closer to the exit where it's not as intense. And unlike King Kai's planet, they can progressively go deeper into the room, getting higher levels of training. With King Kai's planet, you just get the 10 times gravity and that's it. Sure, it's helpful at first, but at a certain point once you're used to it, what gains are you really getting? Outside of just your average training. And while Goku's at 30,000, Piccolo's not too far behind, at 20,000 himself. A huge improvement, especially just for a Namekian, not gifted with the same insane potential that Saiyans have, especially someone like Goku. Zenkais and such really did help here. And there's also another factor to consider. On top of those 6 months of training in the Room of Spirit and Time, they do spend a lot of time in the outside training as well. Like, that 6 months only translated to half a day on the outside, so they still had that entire year afterwards. Half a year training in the Room of Spirit and Time, and then a year training on the outside with all their friends. Or Goku's friends, they're not really Piccolo's friends. But speaking of them, how strong do they get? Well, pretty much as strong as normal. Although I would say Gohan would probably get stronger. Yeah, I know it's pretty standard for me in my videos to say, oh hey, Gohan gets stronger here, but it's really hard to find a scenario where Gohan doesn't get stronger. Especially here, the stars align so well with Goku being here and Piccolo being there as well. It would be easier for Gohan to get acclimated to training, and since it's Goku that's going to be partially training him, he's honestly much more suited for it. So we'll put Gohan at around 3,000. It might not seem strong in comparison to Goku and Piccolo, but he's stronger than anyone else besides them on Earth. Definitely worth noting, especially considering he's just a kid. Okay, but enough about the training. Now that the time has passed, that means the Saiyans are about to arrive. And in case you couldn't already tell, the major change here is that it's not just Vegeta and Nappa. Broly is there too. Broly's actually been pretty loyal to the Saiyans so far, thanks to what he's heard from Nappa beforehand, and the fact that they're all fighting to defeat Frieza. He has a very strong sense of loyalty to this group. They did save him from Vampa after all, or at least it seems like that. And besides all that manipulation and everything else, it's also the fact that he's stuck with them and that's how he's been trained, that's how he's been raised. Of course he's going to be loyal to them. But he's got a very warped sense of loyalty because of all these conditions together. And it's not like he's necessarily attached to the group either, but hearing of Raditz' death, oh yeah, whoever killed him definitely needs to pay. A threat to Raditz is a direct threat to them. Even though they didn't know that Raditz was secretly trying to betray them, but whatever. The group is ready for two outcomes. Either they just kill Kakarot and everyone here with no remorse, or Kakarot ends up joining them. And maybe his kid too. Hey, you know what? If they could kill Raditz, they'd honestly be a better addition to the team regardless. They may have lost a Saiyan, but in turn, they would gain a stronger one. It's a win-win either way. They're not even here for the Dragon Balls because they don't know about them. They just genuinely want Kakarot and his hybrid Saiyan son, either having him join the team or be slaughtered. But unlike Raditz, these Saiyans can't be stopped. They're so powerful in comparison to them. Nappa's the weakest of the three. And actually, I'd wager that he's stronger than normal. It's the same principle that I applied to Vegeta last time. You know what, speaking of that, let's actually cover the power levels of these Saiyans. With an extra training partner here, it does benefit everybody. Instead of Vegeta being around 18k, he's now more like 30,000, dead even with Goku. As for Nappa, he's around 10,000, but Broly, he's a completely different animal. His power fluctuates so rapidly, they don't even really know where to place him. In base and pretty much normal conditions, he hovers around 50,000. But when in rage, or when he's going under one of his fluctuations in power, it soars much higher. He's a secret weapon for the Saiyans. If they grow strong with Broly, soon enough, he'll be able to topple Frieza. He could potentially even be a Super Saiyan, they don't know for sure. But in the meantime, they still could use some extra people on their crew. The first battle that ensues is Nappa versus Piccolo. And it should be pretty clear cut how this goes. I outlined the power levels before, and in terms of raw strength, Piccolo is twice as strong. But even disregarding that, Piccolo is just a better fighter in general. Not to say Nappa's bad. As a higher ranking Saiyan, he definitely would have been a good warrior. But I would bet that Piccolo's actually better than that. And he's clearly much more intelligent than Nappa, not just in terms of battle smarts, but just smarts in general. Combine that with his greater strength and yeah, it's a wash. They think Piccolo's stupid at first to face Nappa alone, but he actually does it relatively easily. How could a Namekian defeat a Saiyan? And not just defeat him, he actually killed Nappa. And he doesn't seem fazed by it at all. Piccolo's surprised. He knew he got stronger, but he didn't realize it was this strong. But also he's confident. This gives them a better chance against the Saiyans. They know Nappa's the weakest of them, but still. Maybe fighting the other two won't be as tough as they think. Vegeta's about to step up and fight this Namekian, but he notices something. His scouter. A power starts rising on it. The one right next to him. It's Broly. Oh, he completely forgot. Broly's rage. Those fluctuations in power that they've seen before. This is the perfect opportunity. Watching one of his comrades die right in front of him. Of course, Raditz' death was enough to anger him, but this? Now he's actually seeing one of them die. And remember, Nappa was the one to help raise him basically, just like with Vegeta and Raditz, but for Broly it hits much closer to home, as discussed previously in this video. And that rage is boiling up within him. His power fluctuates, rising dramatically. 100,000? It's the last number Vegeta sees before his scouter explodes. Broly rushes in, blinded by his rage, much stronger than before. And now, the Dragon team is fighting on the defensive. They have nothing they can do here. Defending against Broly won't work because his attacks are just so powerful, and attacking him, that's not gonna help either. Goku joins in with Piccolo, trying to protect him. The rest of the humans actually just stand by. If they get involved, they're definitely gonna die. Goku and Piccolo are barely able to keep up here. But Goku gets an idea. He notices something. Broly's fighting pretty much blindly. The Saiyan isn't like the others. He's just sat on destroying whatever's in front of him, blinded by his rage. And Goku thinks they could use that to their advantage. As they try and avoid Broly's attacks, which is pretty easy because he's just attacking randomly, they're able to lead him towards Vegeta. Of course, this infuriates Vegeta and he tries to fight back, but remember, he's actually even with Goku in terms of strength, something that surprises him greatly, a low-class warrior at his level. And Piccolo's there too, just to help. And now, Broly's attacks are aimed at Vegeta as well. He doesn't even realize who he's fighting. His rage is consuming him. And unlike what Paragus had with the remote, Vegeta has no way of controlling Broly. Damn it. He kinda knew this already. Having Broly is a double-edged sword. His power is incredible, but at some points, it's uncontrollable. And now they're seeing what he feared. It was turned against him. But Vegeta still has a solution. One trump card. He notices, Kakarot doesn't have a tail. Of course, his son still does. But besides Gohan, the only person here with a tail is Vegeta, meaning he can create an artificial moon. He can turn into a great ape and no one will be able to stand in his way. That's exactly why they removed Broly's tail earlier on. So, Vegeta does exactly that. He creates an artificial moon, tossing it in the air as he transforms into a great ape, inadvertently making Gohan transform as well. And now, Vegeta can effectively fight everybody, pretty much with no struggle at all. But there is a little bit of room to breathe. Goku and Piccolo are fighting for their lives. One slip up and they could easily die, but they see an opportunity. Broly is still fighting Vegeta, and he's acting as a pretty great distraction. They effectively turn the two against each other. Vegeta's actually trying to control Broly now. As a great ape, he's trying to calm Broly down, knock him unconscious, and then just focus on everyone else. And they know he's not going to kill Broly, so until he knocks Broly unconscious, Vegeta will be distracted by him. Okay, first step, they need to save Gohan. Gohan's still a problem. Even though he's very strong as a great ape, it's not that bad. They should be able to handle him, getting to his tail, cutting it off, and saving him. So the two of them focus on that first, rushing over to Gohan, as Vegeta's distracted by Broly, the strongest person fighting him at the moment. Vegeta curses everything. But once he actually deals with Broly, the rest should come pretty easily. And he notices something strange. While distracted with this battle, he sees Gohan de-transform. They cut off his tail, meaning they would know about his weakness too. And just as he thinks this, he feels a sharp pain behind him. While keeping his distance, Krillin was able to throw Kienzan, slicing clean through Vegeta's tail. He completely forgot. He was too focused on the Namekian and Kakarot. He forgot about the other people here too. And that brief opening that they had allowed the group to formulate a plan. Vegeta de-transforms, and as he does so, his eyes make contact with someone else. Piccolo is on the ground, and next to him is Tenshinhan. Both of them have taken up a similar stance, and for some reason, they have what look to be makeshift containers in front of them. In unison, they each perform a Mafuba. Piccolo's is aimed at Broly, and Ten's is aimed at Vegeta. It's incredibly draining, especially for Ten, but it's successful. They seal the two Saiyans away in these makeshift containers, barely being able to close them, then putting the seal on it. Goku flies over, injured and holding Gohan, who's now unconscious and without a tail. His breath is labored, but he smiles through it. Then chuckling, they did it. Their plan actually worked. He sees the two containers there and realizes. They won. They defeated the Saiyans. With this group effort, their strategy overcame the sheer power of the Saiyans. The realization hits everybody. It's over. They did it. But what now? With this victory, we'll leave off here for now. So, what did you guys think about this part? What do you think is going to happen next time? Leave any thoughts or suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like. And let's try to hit that like goal from the beginning of the video so we can get another part of the series. If you haven't already, why not subscribe? As well as hitting the bell icon to be notified about any future uploads on my channel, including more parts of the series or any other videos like it. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.